I bet you wondered at least once why PrintNP is so incredibly fast. Well, we do have a lot of magic tricks in our pocket, and in this video I'm going to show just a few of them which refer to monitoring the performance. So what you see here is a dashboard where we measure the database server performance. So we have an overview of the load on a server, and we can act before there is an issue. So if there are databases with huge load, we can see them and move them to different servers. So there never is a situation where a huge load would affect all the applications. What we also have in this dashboard is metrics per database. So we can see the database sizes, and we can see the log size and also the number of reads and writes into the database. So we can see which are the highest demanding applications and either allocate more resources for them or optimize them. So this will be the next report that I'm going to show you. So once we identify that a database has performance issues or performance requirements, we also look at the queries to see maybe there are some queries that take a lot of time and which should be optimized. So in this report you can see the query, so we know exactly which query to act on. And then we see the last execution time, and then we see how long did it take to execute. And also the number of times it took to execute, the number of time it was executed. So if there is a query that runs once a week and maybe takes longer, we probably don't care about that. But if there's a query that takes 100 milliseconds but it's executed 2,000 times a day, then that is something we should act on. And so far I showed you what we have at the database level. Next I'm going to show you what we have in terms of monitoring performance at the application level. So here I have an application monitoring instance. So I have a high-level overview of the server performance, the application performance, sorry. And then this is just the big picture. And also I have a live stream where I can see metrics in real time, what's happening on the server in real time. But this is just a high-level overview, and then I can dig in. For example, we can go to the performance, and then we can see each request, which requests take longer, the number of times that were executed, and then we can look at the samples and act of them. We can also see the database queries. So we can see this database had 1.5 million queries in the reporting interval, and then we can look at the samples, see which queries were run, in which context, and then we can optimize them. We can see if maybe some need caching or maybe some need optimizing, and so on. Okay, so let me go back and let's also look at a web server request. So for example, this is a my token request, or maybe let's look at some samples. So this is just a sample, so normally maybe it's not worth looking into it because it's not that big. And then here we can see the time it took to execute, and here we can see the queries it ran. Yeah, so this was actually a URL adapter interpretation of the URL to determine the friendly URL. Yeah. And we can also track browser performance. So there's actually a lot of information that we collect here and which we can act on. So that will be in terms of monitoring. Very short brief. I hope this gives you a clear picture of why you should trust Plant an App.